Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1, Episode 6, the season finale. So this was a pretty good episode. It had a lot of action. In fact, if you read the description on Disney Plus, it says the action-packed finale. I'm just like, that's the description? Typical Disney Plus shows. So it had some really good lightsaber action battle between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Thank God. There was some action scenes between Owen, his wife, and Reva, and then there was some nice touching scenes here and there. So it was a pretty good episode. However, the flow of the pacing feels odd. It just feels choppy in a way. It doesn't flow well. Like there are some scenes where it does, and then they just skip over a lot of other stuff and they go to something else. This episode was about 40 something minutes, so I don't know why they kept skipping certain scenes and stuff. If they would have shown those scenes, it would have been more emotional and more like, you could really take it in and stuff. So basically, it starts off with Darth Vader on his ship, and the battle has commenced where he's firing on Obi-Wan and them people that escaped from that planet in the last episode. So he caught up to them pretty fast, so he just jumped straight into the battle. It would have been more cooler to see like Obi-Wan and the ship people just like flying off thinking they're safe. And then all of a sudden Vader comes up and starts shooting on them. That would have been more engaging, but no, we just jumped right into the battle. So they're firing back and forth, and it's not really much going on. It's just one ship shooting at another as it's trying to fly away, and it wasn't really all that engaging. Like I remember in the third movie, Revenge of the Sith and everything, that space battle was much more engaging, much more um high paced, I guess you could say, fast paced. This reminds me of some of the older stuff where it's so slow and stuff. Oh, I'm tired. I'm yawning and everything. So basically, Obi-Wan's just kind of like, he's after me. If, like, I divert him, he'll leave y'all alone. So this pisses off Leia because she's all like, you made a promise that you'll take me home and all this other stuff. So there's a big emotional scene where that would take up way too much time. That when she gets so pissed and stubborn, she just walks off. So that fake Jedi guy, he goes to talk to her to calm her down, but we see that off screen. And so then, like, Obi-Wan goes in and talk to her, and then, she's all like, come back to me, and like stuff like that. It would have been nice to see what the fake Jedi dude told her and stuff like that. So so he diverts like Vader and everything. He leaves the other people alone. There's not much from them, not much from Ice Cube son. Jeez, I'm tired. I never even go to sleep. And so like, um, what's his name? The Grand Inquisitor. He just talks about like, we should keep pursuing these like people and leave Obi-Wan alone. But of course, Vader doesn't want to do that. And then that's all we see is the Grand like Inquisitor. They brought him back just for that. And of course, they brought him back for canon because everything Star Wars is connected now. And so like, while this is going on, Reva, she is looking for Luke and everything. So it's kind of like, well, we know what she's going to do, but what exactly? Oh my God, I'm tired. And so, like, she's looking for him and she goes to this vendor and then tell her, where's Owen and this and that. So the vendor somehow has escaped her and went to go warn Owen. So him and his wife, he wants to flee off the planet, but his wife's like, no, we're going to stay home and we're going to like fight her and stuff. And so like, I get Owen wants to like flee so Luke can be safe and everything, but for the wife, it's kind of like, what if y'all fail? You know what I'm saying? And she gets her hands on Luke. And so that's basically what happens and stuff. Like, Reva comes in the middle of the night. Somehow she has survived from the last episode. Don't know how. They don't explain how she survived, but she's limping and everything. So as soon as she enters their home, they start blasting at her and everything. She's deflecting it with the force. And so then Owen picks up a giant tube thing and tries to swing at her. Of course, he misses. And then he grabs her on the side to let us know that, hey, she's not 100% because he's like, squeezing at her wound and everything. So basically, Luke escapes into like the desert. And of course, she goes and she follows. So Obi-Wan is on this planet. Darth Vader, he goes down there. And it's the huge lightsaber battle we all wanted. And it is amazing. It's so great. I noticed something about the lightsabers. One, they are way too bright. I can't be the only person that noticed this crap. I have to keep like setting my TV to like a darker setting. Two, is it just me or like are they using like prop toy lightsaber blades? Because like in the original movies, the blade was just like a skinny little stick that they used to like hit so they know where to hit. And then of course they CGI it in. Now when they CGI in with the original movies, it looked like a dull, kind of staticky, flat blade made of light. Then when they got into the prequels, they look very cartoony and very really flat and wide. Whenever you swing them, they were like wide and everything. But in this movie, they look round and tube-like. So I think they're using a prop, which makes sense because, they have to CG and all that stuff in. And sometimes they don't have to because if it's bright enough, then the lightsaber would do his own thing. So Darth Vader, he's using the Force and he buries Obi-Wan alive. I'm thinking to myself, well, of course he ain't dead because we know he's gonna live. So he uses the Force to like make kind of like a cocoon around him to like hold the rocks at bay. Then he's doing his PTSD thing where he's hearing like Vader's voice in his head and that of Anakin, and then he busts through. So as Darth Vader is doing his long walk back to his ship, that man loves to walk. Of course, he senses Obi-Wan, and we hear a lightsaber activate, and they go at it again. But this time, Obi-Wan is not letting up. He is in it for the kill. And he's just going at it. And then he does something so cool. He goes all Aang glass airbender on him and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, because when Vader was throwing rocks at him and burying him alive, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if like Obi-Wan made all the rocks like go up in the sky and then just like launch them at Vader? And I'm like, oh man, he didn't do it. But then he does it. And it was a cool scene. Like, I'm like, yeah, man, I want you to go like all Aang on him and everything. So he's lifting up the rocks and he's like launching on one at one. And of course, Vader's getting like the crap knocked out of him. And then Obi-Wan goes in for the kill. I gotta give it up to Ian, man. He really busts out some moves, old as he is and everything, with that lightsaber. So he goes for the headshot. And he just slices part of like the helmet off Vader. And you see part of like Anakin inside. Now this is the part that's kind of odd because it shifts back and forth between voices. Is Hayden's screechy voice and then is Earl's like deep voice. So most of the time it's just Anakin's and then sometimes it's Vader's every once in a while. And it just doesn't match up because Hayden doesn't have that like deep, angry sounding voice, But it's cool seeing his disfigured face underneath, like half of it, and that creepy smile he gives him. And I'm like, okay, now I can see it. This dude is that evil and stuff, because I've always wondered, like Hayden can look really mean when he needs to, but I never always wondered how that dude turned that evil, you know what I'm saying? And now I can see he is sadistic and sinister and stuff. So Obi-Wan's just all like, he's all like, you didn't kill Anakin, I killed him and everything. And so Obi-Wan's just kind of like, my friend is truly lost, and he gives up. And of course he had to, because he can't kill him because of the other movies and stuff. So he walks away, and then we hear Hayden's screechy voice screaming out to Obi-Wan and everything. So then it cuts from that, and then it cuts from Reva chasing Luke, and Luke is hiding behind some rocks in the mountain, and she finds him. She throws him down, and she's getting ready for the kill. But as she can, before she does that, she's having PTSD. She's having images of herself on the ground, as like when Anakin was about to kill her and everything. And so then she starts flashing back and forth to Anakin and herself and Luke, and she just can't do it. So when Obi-Wan senses that, he goes to the planet, and they're looking for him. And then here she comes holding, like, Luke in the arms, almost like he's dead. And this is what I hate. They play it off like she killed Luke, because he's so limp in her arms. And then when she puts him on the ground, it's the anticipation, and then all of a sudden he moves. Like, we know he's gonna move. He's the freaking hero of like the movies and stuff in the past. And so she's just like, I can't do it, I can't do it. So then she's like, where do I go from here? Oh, and also she failed him. What exactly was her end game? Her character was so odd in this season. So before I get into that, like my thoughts on that, first, so he's all like, you have to choose your own path and you're finally free. So she gives up her lightsaber, and he's like, you're free. And that's the last we see of her in this episode. And it's still playing like about 10 or 12 minutes left. And it's like, dude, so apparently he kept her lightsaber too, but we never saw it in the movies because, of course, she was never created back then. But here's the thing. Her character is so inconsistent. Throughout the first half of this like series, we thought she wanted to kill Obi-Wan, but why? And everything. We knew she was that young Jedi back in the day, but they kept playing off that maybe she is, maybe she's not. But we knew she was. So then, why did she want to kill Obi-Wan so bad? Then it turns out she's just using Leia to get to Obi-Wan, to get to Vader. But then this is the thing I don't understand. How does she know who Leia is? How did she know Obi-Wan knows her and everything? Obi-Wan had no contact with her. But I guess since Obi-Wan was friends with Ortega, then, she figured, oh, he'll rescue her. But that's a big hunch. So she used Leia to get the Obi, use Obi to get the Vader. But she had so many playing time to kill Vader, but never tried to until that one time. And then Ortega's down behind spilled the magic beans and everything about the whole Luke and thing. And so it's kind of like, okay. So now she's going after Luke to get Vader again. Why don't she just go after Vader? And how did she survive? And now she knows Luke and Leia are Anakin's kids, which breaks continuity. And what happened to her after this episode? So then all of a sudden she just has a little PTSD. She's like, I give up. So it's just kind of like she's so inconsistent. And it's like she doesn't have a redeeming quality, in my opinion, because she did all this bad stuff as an Inquisitor just to get to Vader, but she had so many opportunities to get to him. So no, this is not going to be like a Xena type moment where she's redeemed in the eyes of many. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird, I mean, her and Xena are very similar, but still. And so she's gone, and then it cuts from that all the way to Leia getting dressed. I'm just like, oh, well, she got back home to her family safe. And so it cuts from that. That's what I'm saying, like the flow of the pacing is off and everything. So she gets dressed, she gets the holster that belonged to her mom, that Obi-Wan gave her. The family's like, cool, whatever, we don't care. And then she says bye to Obi-Wan for one last time. But here's the problem that somewhat breaks continuity. So many people have debated this. In the New Hope, did she know Obi-Wan or did she not? Because it made it seem like she didn't. You know what I'm saying? Especially when she talked to Obi-Wan on the communicator. But apparently he just tells her, hey, look, nobody can know I know you, blah, blah, blah. He'll put people in danger. So it's basically like New Trek was like, hey, this is classified. And so it breaks continuity because apparently she knew him and everything, you know? So then Obi-Wan goes back to Tatatouille, or however you say it, and he's talking to Owen. Owen's being his butt-headed self again, talking about, what are you doing here? He said he's gonna stay away. But then he finally caves, and he's like, all right, fine, you can visit the boy. And then, so he says hi to Luke, gives him the toy, and, you know, that's basically it. And so, oh no, then he goes, and he's on his little animal thing, and he sees his old master in that Jedi ghost form thing, projection. And his old master's all like, what took you so long and everything? We have a lot to talk about. So I'm like, it's Liam Nelson. And so here's the thing. This is why I hate this man. I explained it in my Dairy Girls season 3, episode 1. See, Liam is a very good actor. And he does a lot of action movies. So somebody asked him one day, how do you get motivated for these action scenes, especially the age you are? He says he embodies himself, he pictures himself murdering black men as he passed them on the street. Yeah. So when he's walking in the street, he sees a black man, he thinks to himself killing them. Why? Many years ago, he had a friend, not a family member, but a friend, and she was raped by a black man. So, because she was raped by one black man, he now hates all black men. How racist can you be? Not every black man is a rapist, and two, not every black man is that man that did that. How many white rapists are there? You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, dude, that's so racist. So now when I watch The Dark Knight, I'm just like, oh, he's, instead of picturing himself trying to kill Batman, he's trying to kill a black man. Like, seriously, how is this man still getting work? And he is so racist. So that's Obi-Wan, the finale. In terms of pacing, not good, but in terms of action, very good. In terms of storytelling, half and half, I guess you could say. Oh, and then also, is it Palestine, what his name is? He comes back in projection form, talking to Vader, and Vader's all like, all right, fine, I'll stop looking for Obi-Wan and everything. So that can stay in continuity with the movies and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, you hate him so bad, and now all of a sudden you're giving up. Like, that's just kind of weird, but of course they have to keep the continuity of the movies and stuff. And this is the problem with making a sequel. It's just kind of like there's bound to be like little hiccups here and there. And, you know, we knew nobody of consequence would die, or nobody of importance, I should say, would die because they're in A New Hope and everything. Now, what it should have been is like after the Obi-Wan and Vader fight, it should have been Reva and Obi-Wan doing it, like, well, not doing it, but, you know, fighting and everything with lightsabers. And then he should have killed her because she's not supposed to exist in none of the other movies or none of the other franchises and stuff. So now there's a huge error because she's alive and well, but what is she gonna do now? You know, she's a complete like anomaly in the whole lore of Star Wars because technically she still has the power of the Force. She's no longer like, you know, a Sith type person, so I guess she's back to being like not necessarily a Jedi, but like, you know, just an all-around good person now, and but she still possesses the Force. So she's a continuity error. Baby Yoda's a continuity error. So it's just like, whatever. This is the problem with connecting all your cartoon shows, your video games, and all your movies together with the shows and everything. There's bound to be some hiccups and stuff. Alrighty. Well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.